So one of the things that Coach Ken emphasized to us whenever he first came here is that we should know some of the history of volleyball. He'll call on us at any time, and if we don't know it, we have to write it out just to make sure that we'll remember it. So if you don't know something, you write it 50 times. And he makes a good point that we spend so much time in this sport that you should probably know a little bit of history about it. You spend so much time in your other subjects that you know facts about them. Why not know the key facts about volleyball? So why not go and impress your new college coach and show them what you know? Just 5 basic facts. So, volleyball was invented by William J. Morgan. He invented volleyball, which was then called mignonette, and he invented it in 1895 in Holyoke, Massachusetts. And as I said, it's important because we spend so much time around it that it's important to know where it came from. So now I'm going to go through the recruiting process for those of you in the room that are looking to go on and play at the college level. And I know a lot of you may be interested, and it's important to know that if you want to go play college volleyball, there is going to be a place for you somewhere. It might not be a D1, it could be D2, NAIA, junior college, or even if you just want to go play club volleyball for your college, there's going to be a place for you if you want to play. So club volleyball is going to be something really important that you're going to want to focus on. That's where coaches come and see you. They can come and watch you play tournaments. They can come and watch how you look in warm-ups, because not necessarily all the time are you going to have your best game because the sets aren't going to be off. But when you get to college, you are going to have a higher level setter, and that's what a more typical ball that you're going to be able to hit off of. Whereas if they come to a high school game, they're only going to be able to see one match. It's also really difficult for them because they're in their season as well. So if you join on a club team, you're going to be playing multiple tournaments across the nation for them to be able to see you play on multiple occasions, and you can even get the chance to talk to them after a certain date. Another important thing to remember is that you're going to want to start building a recruiting tape. And it doesn't have to be anything lengthy or too fancy, just not even more than 3 minutes. Maybe you passing 10 to 15 balls, setting 10 to 15 balls, taking a couple swings, serving the ball, and a little bit of game film. The coach isn't going to want to see this long private lesson that you have with the coach. They're just going to want to see what raw material they have to work with, what your form look like, and how enthused are you about coming to play volleyball. If you start receiving letters in the mail, which most of you probably have by the time you're sophomores and juniors, you're going to be receiving letters of interest from these coaches. And it's really important that if you're interested in the school, you get back to them right away. And they don't want to hear from your parents. They don't want to hear from other resources. They're going to want to hear from you. They want to hear, are you interested in the school? Do you want to play there? Would you be interested in coming on a visit? And you need to email them, you need to call them, and you need to get in contact with them, because not all the time they can't call you back because of some recruiting rules. So that's important to know. And if you send out a recruiting tape, you want to call that coach and make sure they get it, because they're getting videos all the time, every day. So you want to call and see if they've looked at it. Talk to them about what you can improve on, what you can work on. Do they see you fitting into their program? Another important thing to remember is you can have a lot of other sources like Prep Volleyball, Rich Kern, and I have Rich Kern listed. It's just richkern.com, and you can register yourself, and coaches can go on, look at your profile, look at what club you play for, even access any video that you may have uploaded. It's really good. You can see what coaches, what schools have hit your site, and then you can go contact them in case they've already used up their one phone call a week towards you, or they can't email you anymore. So it's a really cool tool to use, and it's free, so why not register yourself and just get your name out there. So some of you might not be involved in a club yet. You can play club from the age 12 all the way to your senior year when you're 18. And some of the main clubs that are going to be in the area are Texas Advantage, which is in Arlington, Dallas Skyline, obviously in Dallas. Texas Assault is just north of Arlington. Texas Tornadoes, this is going to be in Houston, but some people don't mind traveling that far if they can get on a top team. Dallas Summit, which is right outside of Dallas. Tejas, which is in Capel. And Victory, which is closer to Fort Worth. And any of these clubs, they all are going to have tryouts. Normally they're around the same weekend, same day, but you can bounce from tryout to tryout. They're completely understanding. You're just going to go, fill out a form, run through a couple of practice drills, and then they're going to be able to come find you and see what you can do. So now we're going to continue on with the clubs that we have in the North Texas area. I've already kind of gone over some of the locations with you, and Texas Advantage has been ranked the #1 club the past 3 years in Texas. Dallas Skyline and Tornadoes have come a close second. They're great clubs to play at, and they have a lot of great coaches. They produce a lot of collegiate athletes. So one of the perks of playing club is that a lot of your club coaches and your club directors are going to have those connections with college coaches. They're going to be at some of the same conferences where they can get your name out, hand out videos, and personally recommend you to that next level. So that's an advantage of playing club volleyball as well. It is expensive, and it does require a lot of time, a lot of commitment. Normally, if you play club volleyball, you're not going to be able to play those other winter sports because they're going to want you training all year long. But in the end, it is worth it if you can go get a scholarship or if you can go play. It's going to pay off, and it's going to repay what you paid then. So that's another thing to remember whenever you're signing up for club. Okay, so now I'm going to go over a little bit of what your recruiting should include. You heard what Coach Ken likes on his, and some other important things to make sure that you point out is when it first comes up, it should have your name, your height, your vertical touch, your weight, and the number that they're going to be watching. If they're looking at game film, they can't just figure out who you are miraculously. So make sure that you put your number on there. Individual shots of your position, zoomed in, full range, anything that's going to let the coaches know who you are and give them a full view of, your jump, your athleticism, anything like that. Game footage is really important. Not as so much high school, yeah, if you have a good game, but club games are really good to have on there because it's at a higher level and they're going to know some of the teams that you're competing against. Okay, so one of your sheets is making a list. You want to narrow down your schools. You might not have as many options. Some of you guys are going to have a lot of options. Some of you guys aren't going to have too many options. But for the most part, you want to focus on the school and would you be happy there if you weren't in volleyball. So consider where you want to go to school, if it can meet your academic standards, and as volleyball may come to an end, you want to make sure it's a place that you're going to be happy. You're going to want to contact the schools that contact you immediately, especially if you're really interested. It's going to let them know how interested you are as well, and it's going to move you to the top of their list. You're going to want to keep in contact with those coaches and ask some questions that you want to know about the volleyball team, the team in general, or even just about their school. They're going to be able to answer those questions. So for a list, what I was looking for, I was going to focus on schools that had a biology degree, schools in Texas, or schools that were in a conference that were close to my home, so at least my family could come watch me play. I wanted a Division I school. I didn't care if it was public or private. I wanted a school with a lot of school spirit. Hopefully they had a football team. A larger school. Did I like the team? Would I be able to stay there without volleyball? Preferably a warm weather school and even a school in the south. So those are just some basic things that you can look at and narrow down, and it's going to help narrow your search. And obviously taking visits and meeting the team, that's all going to help, because if you're happy at the school and you're happy in the environment, you're going to be happier playing volleyball there. Another thing I want to go over is some of the recruiting rules, which you can all find on the NCAA website, and they're very picky, and you want to make sure you don't break any of the rules because it's going to interfere with some of your eligibility. Just some of the few basic rules that they just made a new rule that you're not allowed to text. You can't text your coaches. They can't text you until you've committed. They can only call you one time a week. So you can talk to them as much as you want, but you're going to have to initiate the call after they've called you that one time. If they don't get a hold of you, they can call back, but if they've left a voicemail, they're not going to be able to call you or reach you. So it's really important that you contact them. You can correspond with them as email as much as you like. And those are just some of the basic communication recruiting rules. Obviously, you're not allowed to have an agent coming whenever you get to college if you're going to go try to play professionally, things like that. You're going to want to focus on your club director and seeing what connections he has and what connections he can get you. Until you sign your NLI, you can be verbally committed to a school, but you can't go and talk to your coaches when you're at tournaments. They're not allowed to communicate with you. You can call them while you're there, or you can wave and say hi, but really you can't hold any conversation until you've committed and until you've signed that national letter of intent, which is what your NLI is, and you can only sign one of those. You want to make sure that the school you're going to is the one that you can see yourself in the future. So That's another important thing to remember whenever you're focusing on recruiting.